Today we're going to be talking about Chapter 10, Working with Tables. Placing tables inside of a Word document is a fairly easy task. What you do is you open Microsoft Word, as you see I've done here, and you go up to the ribbon and you select the Insert tab. Under the Insert tab is a group entitled Tables. If you click on the Tables icon, it'll open a new window that allows you to actually choose and watch as a table is built for you in the Word document. In this particular example, I've chosen a 3x3 table. All I have to do is change my selection and I can make a larger table. At this point I have a 4x4 table. I'm going to click at this point and then the table will be inserted into my document. Once you've inserted your table, each of the cells of the table acts as a single paragraph within the Word document. For instance, this is a cell, this is a cell, and this is a cell. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type a little bit of information into this cell. I'm going to type name of player. I've completed filling in the entire table, and we're going to walk through some of the things that you can do with a table. When you have the table selected, for instance here, selection means that I just have the cursor in one of the cells, you'll notice a new tab that's pulled up on the ribbon. This is called a context sensitive tab. Underneath this tab are other tabs that allow you to work specifically with the table. The first tab is the Design tab. We'll look at that first. In this tab, the easiest way to apply a design to your table is to just choose one of the table styles listed here. As you notice as I hover over them, you get a preview of what the table is going to look like if you apply that style. You can also choose more styles by choosing this drop-down arrow here. And there's numerous different types of styles that you can choose from. I'm going to choose this one here. You can also add other types of styles using these options here. For instance, this is the borders option. If I choose this, I can choose different types of borders to place in and around my table. I could choose all borders, and it would place borders around, in this case, the cell that I have selected. If I wanted to place borders in all the cells, I would have to choose the entire table, and I do that by clicking this up here. Then choosing the borders. At this point, you'll notice that black lines have been placed completely around the document, or excuse me, the table. Let's talk about selection for a moment before we continue on into more of the formatting. Selecting, I can select a particular cell just by clicking in it, but I can select more than one cell by putting my mouse in one cell, holding the left mouse button, and then pulling. In this case, I've selected all 4 cells in this row. I could then pull my mouse down and be selecting 2 full rows. You can do this kind of selection very easily. You can also select an entire row by coming out to the left, an entire column by coming above. So for instance, if I chose this top row and I wanted to apply a different type of color scheme to this row, I could choose shading at this point, choose a particular shading color, and apply it. Okay, enough working with design. Let's move to layout. In the Layout tab, there are a lot of options to explore. We'll talk about a few of these. One of the first you will be working with is alignment. Alignment allows you to place a particular information within a particular cell in a particular location. For instance, this particular setting is align in the top left corner of the cell. I can change this to different options. I can change it to the bottom right corner. This is a little different than what you've seen before, other than just centering left and right. These cells here have top and bottom, left and right, and depending upon the size of the cell, will indicate where the information is placed. This brings us to one option here that let's talk about. It's called transforming the size of a cell. If you place the mouse cursor in between the two different cells, you'll notice it changes into this slightly looking like a plus sign. If you grab, you can then drag and change the size of the cell. This will show you how this particular cell, this data within the cell, is in the upper right hand corner. If I choose the bottom left, you'll notice it moves to the bottom left. Next, I'd like to talk about working with rows and columns. One of the things that you're often going to do is once you've built the table, you're going to want to place new information within it. For instance, if I wanted to put a new player into this, there's no room for me to do that. I need to insert a new row. A way to do that is select where you want the row to be inserted at, and then come up here to the rows and columns group. So in this case, I could insert a row below. Now I have a new row to insert a new player into. Next thing I'd like to talk about is merge. This is a very interesting function that can be kind of confusing. So in order to demonstrate this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a new row above our current header row. So I'm going to insert this above. Now what I want to do with this particular row is I want to make it the title of our table. But if I do the title of the table, if I were going to call this our Little League team, I can't center this across the table like I'd like to, because there are 4 separate cells. What I need to do is merge or group together all these cells so that they change into a single cell. It's very easy to do that. All you do is highlight the cells that you wish to merge, come up here to the merge group and click merge cells. Now you'll notice that this cell is now one cell. The dividing lines that indicated the cell boundaries are gone. I could now, since I have this cell selected, come over here to the alignment and align this in the center. The last item I'm going to discuss with tables is being able to perform calculations with the data that you've placed in the table. So in this particular case, this last row that I've added here, I'm going to call this the totals row. And I'm going to add up the information in the cells above here and place the total down below. Word can do this very easily, and it's under the Layout tab, which I have selected, and there's a Formula button here all the way to the right. You choose the cell that you want the formula in and then choose Formula. Word will then pull up a screen to give you some option of what kind of formula. It's chosen what it believes the formula you want. In this case, sum. Sum means to add. This word above means to sum or add everything it sees above it. So it's going to come above here. It's going to look where it finds numbers, in this case 3 numbers, and it will add them. At this point, all you have to do is say OK, and it will place the formula here. You'll notice that it has added these 3 numbers and given us the correct information. You could then do this for each of the 3 cells we have here, and it will calculate it for you. So rather than using a calculator and doing this by hand, you can let the computer do the work for you. Okay, this gives you enough skills so that you can go ahead and complete the lab. Okay, good luck.